So let's get right into it. We're breaking down a book by a 4-star Navy SEAL Admiral, William H. McRaven. And what he's done is taken the lessons he learned from literally the toughest military training in the world and boiled them down into 10 simple, powerful principles. The core idea? That the smallest disciplines can totally change your life. And yeah, maybe even the world.
And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? I mean, it sounds a little too easy. Can one single habit, something you do every day that seems almost insignificant, actually have that kind of ripple effect? It's a huge claim, but it's the foundation for everything we're about to talk about. And the answer, according to Admiral McRaven, is a resounding yes. It absolutely can, and that world-changing habit is making your bed. I know, sounds kind of funny, right? But stick with me because the wisdom behind this one simple action is surprisingly deep.
Okay, lesson number 1. This is the big one, the idea that gave the book its name and really sets the stage for everything else.
This is the famous quote that started it all. And look, this is about so much more than just being tidy. For a Navy SEAL in training, this is the very first test of the day. It's a test of your discipline, your precision, and your attention to detail, right from the moment you get up.
And when we say perfect, we mean perfect. We're talking about corners so square you could cut yourself on them, blankets pulled incredibly tight, and here's the kicker. The instructor literally comes by and bounces a quarter on the mattress. If that quarter doesn't jump, you fail. It's about meeting an impossibly high standard before the sun is even fully up.
So why all the fuss? Well, the philosophy behind it is actually pretty brilliant. When you make your bed perfectly, you've already accomplished the first task of the day. It gives you this small jolt of pride, and that feeling creates momentum. It makes you want to tackle the next task and the one after that. And hey, if you have a totally miserable day, at least you come home to a bed that you made, a little reminder that you can do things right and that tomorrow can be better. So, from that personal discipline, we zoom out for lesson 2, which is all about the incredible power of teamwork. Because, let's be real, nobody, not even a Navy SEAL, gets through the tough stuff on their own.
The journey is just too hard. You know, the waves are too high to think you can make it all by yourself. You're going to need your friends, your colleagues, your family. You need a team to help you get where you're going.
In SEAL training, this lesson is taught in a very real, very physical way with a giant rubber raft they have to lug everywhere. It teaches you that the team's success depends on every single person. If one person is sick or just totally wiped out, you don't just leave them behind. Nope, you have to dig deeper, paddle harder, and literally carry their weight until they get their strength back. And this idea is captured perfectly by the story of the Munchkin crew. Get this, they were the shortest guys in the class, right? The big, tall guys made fun of them. But they consistently blew everyone else out of the water. How? They paddled in perfect sync with one mind and one heart. It just proved that it's not about how big and strong you are individually, it's about the size of the team's collective heart.
All right, lesson 3 is about something we all have to deal with, failure, and just plain old unfairness. And in the world of the SEALs, they've got a very memorable name for it. So picture this. You've worked so hard to get your uniform perfect for inspection, but you fail anyway, maybe for a reason that makes no sense. Your punishment? You have to become a sugar cookie. You run fully clothed into the freezing cold surf. Then you have to roll around in the sand until you are covered from head to toe. For the rest of the day, you're cold, wet, and gritty with sand. It's miserable. And the lesson here couldn't be clearer. Life isn't always fair. You can do everything right and still fail. You can still end up a sugar cookie. And the instructors teach you that you don't complain about it. You don't blame anyone. The only response is to just accept it and keep moving forward.
And that mentality of pushing through the unfairness, well, that prepares you for something else. A little something called the circus. This was the name for 2 extra hours of intense, punishing exercise at the end of the day, which was your reward for failing any event that day. Now here's the crazy part. Everyone feared the circus. It was designed to break you. But for the trainees who didn't quit, something amazing happened. The constant punishment, the pain, it actually made them stronger. The circus built a kind of mental and physical armor. It's a powerful reminder that embracing failure can actually make you better. So our 4th lesson moves from those internal battles against failure and unfairness to facing the threats that are right in front of you, the sharks and the bullies that try to stand in your way. What a powerful metaphor, right? But here's the thing you need to understand. For Navy SEAL trainees, this isn't a metaphor at all. It's very, very real.
I want you to just imagine this for a second. You're swimming in the pitch-black ocean, and you know for a fact that you're in a breeding ground for great white sharks. The instructors teach you something that sounds insane. If a shark starts circling you, you don't swim away. You hold your ground. And if it attacks, you summon every ounce of strength you have and you punch it right in the snout.
And that right there is a lesson for life. Because bullies, whether they're in the schoolyard or the boardroom, they're just like sharks. They feed on fear. They're looking for weakness. But the second you find the courage to stand your ground, to metaphorically punch them in the snout, they lose their power over you.
And that brings us to our final lesson. This is really the culmination of everything. It's about finding hope when you're in the darkest place imaginable, and never, ever giving up. This story is just incredible. It's the worst part of Hell Week. The trainees are beyond exhausted, they're freezing cold, in mud that's up to their necks. An instructor tells them they can all get out of the cold if just 5 of them quit. And you can just feel morale cratering. And then, out of nowhere, one guy starts singing, and then another joins in, and another, until the whole class is singing. That one act of hope completely changed the dynamic.
Which leads us to this final absolute rule. This is the ultimate lesson that holds all the others together. The discipline, the teamwork, the resilience. It's the simple, unbreakable commitment to see it through no matter how bad it gets.
And this is the bell. It hangs there, right in the center of the training compound, for everyone to see. It represents the easy way out. All you have to do is walk up and ring it 3 times, and all the pain stops. But the instructors make one thing crystal clear. If you ring that bell, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Because the pain of quitting always lasts longer than the pain of the struggle.
So we end up right back where we started. All these incredible lessons show us that changing your life, or even the world, isn't about some single grand heroic act. It's about the cumulative power of small, consistent, disciplined actions. It's about getting help from others, learning from your failures, facing your fears, and finding the hope to never, ever give up. So the only real question left is, what small task will you start with tomorrow?